Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Best Overall Show. My name is Jim Vessel. I'm joined by David Koska. David, how are
Hey, how's it going?
you? David, it's been a minute.
Yeah,
How are you, and
yeah.
what's new in life?
Oh, as this last episode talking about kind of pursuing more of our own personal lives, doing a lot of that, but also like a junk ton of hobbying. I'm currently working on a brand new Tech Priest Dominus. It's really you can't really see it very well, but
No,
kind of cool. It's kind of
awesome.
weird looking. I'm super excited about working on him. He'll be done probably in a couple days, and then I'm gonna work on some sulfur hounds and more rust stalkers, and yeah, and
That's
then I'm
amazing.
gonna double back to some Raven Guard because I haven't painted those, and also I'm gonna paint my first Titanicus model because I have like a whole entire Titan Legion for Titanicus, and I haven't painted any of my models yet, so that'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I just want to welcome everyone that is joining us live today. If you guys are in chat on YouTube and or Twitch, please make sure to drop us a line there so we can know you're here and not just a bunch of bots from a click farm in Bangladesh. A few small things, guys. We reached 1,800 followers on YouTube, which is amazing.
Nice.
So that's great. So almost up to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is amazing. So continue to spread and share the channel, and if you're liking the content, please subscribe. Also on Twitch, I think we're up to something like 500 and something followers right now. So we're trying to get to 1,000 Twitch followers by the end of the year. That's my goal. So make sure to subscribe there. And yeah, so I have a how's it going, Speezy, Lojax? It's Jay Will. How's it going, guys? All right, so let's get right into the show. So a bit of a clickbait title. Some of you guys are wondering, and I mentioned in the Discord that there's a big announcement today, and I will be getting to it. So I'm not gonna tell you guys right now. It's actually like pretty crazy when I tell you guys what's happening, and it's actually gonna
Okay.
change my whole trajectory for the rest of the year. But I will get to that. First of all, I just got back from Las Vegas team tournament this weekend, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about the London GT and kind of some of the ITC drama that I wouldn't say drama, but I guess some of the ITC controversy. And then, yeah, we're going to talk Black Templars. There's a big Black Templar reveal, and and also just kind of talk a little bit about, I guess, it would be a good segue, which is kind of current projects and what we're working on. Dave, you just mentioned that you're working on some AdMech.
Yeah.
I'm working on terrain, so I have a set of terrain that I bought a little while ago, and this is something that I played actually on stream. My very first fully streamed battle report I did on last Thursday, I believe. It was my first and only practice game for the Las Vegas team tournament, and I streamed the game, and it was my very first stream. Lots of hiccups to work out. I've already gone and purchased. I got cables here out to the zoo. I got lights. I'll be setting up a whole bunch more equipment. I got two big, long daylight, basically fluorescent lamps that I'm gonna.
Mhm.
They just arrived today. They're gonna get mounted on the ceiling. I guess on the inside it's the ceiling, not the roof. So I got some long, bright daylight ceiling lamps that I'm gonna be mounting as well. And then I also have cabling and some other things that have arrived, just to make it so that the stream is much easier to see. Also, I got some big objective markers, some big neoprene ones, so that those will be easy to see as well in stream. And my plan is to continue streaming games. We have the BC 40K League starting up in about 2 weeks here. So I'll be streaming at least once every 2 weeks. My goal is to stream at least once every 2 weeks. That game, which like literally was like very like ad hoc. I set up the stream software and the stream hardware that afternoon with the help of Richard Hughes. So thank you, Richard Hughes, for helping me out with some of the software. And it was very, it was very kind of Bush League, like Renegade stream. It wasn't that nice, but I promise you guys the next one is going to be much better. Better lighting, better sound, better everything. So make sure to tune in. And if you guys are enjoying that content, make sure to drop a comment on that. So yeah, so I'm trying to paint my terrain. Back to this whole point. I'm trying to paint my terrain for that
Mhm.
stream because I was using all the terrain that I had was this like terrain set, but it was all MDF color. So
Mhm.
so I'm going to be painting that and getting that nice and kind of looking nice for the stream, and then hopefully you guys will enjoy that stuff. And somehow that one stream, the 3-hour 40-minute video, got more views than like 90% of the shit I do on this channel. So it's always disconcerting for that when it's like. But anyways, And yeah, the other thing I've been doing is I finished Mortis. I mentioned in the last show that I finished Mortis. I just started Fulgrim, which is the next book in my queue. So far, so good. Actually, no, I finished Fulgrim. I started
Now,
and finished Fulgrim. Sorry,
to
in
be
the 2
clear,
weeks.
is it Fulgrim the Primarch book or is it Fulgrim from the Heresy
Oh, sorry,
series?
Fulgrim the Primarch book.
Oh,
So
okay.
I just realized I actually finished it, and I started the next. I think the next Armin novel. I'm just starting the second one in the trilogy. So I finished Fulgrim, start and finish. Very much enjoyed it. It was kind of cool seeing. I always enjoy the Primarch novels because they give you an insight into like the Primarchs before obviously the Great Crusade or very early in their lives, and it was cool kind of seeing like Fabius Bile. He's just like their random apothecary. He's super creepy already. Like he hasn't even like become like the chief apothecary, but he's already like super creepy in it. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
this guy's so weird. Like he's like the weird awkward kid that like everyone's like, this guy's gonna end up being a serial killer. Spoiler alert, he does basically. And It just shows like, and you start to see hints of Fulgrim's like they lay a lot of the I guess groundwork for his fall later because you start to see some of the vanity and pride and like kind of that like arrogance that causes him to and that like those that pursuit of knowledge and pursuit of pleasure and pursuit of all those things you see pieces of that in the book, and you see that like manifest and you're like, oh yeah, like you can see like that's something that he is a little bit different than the other Primarchs. So that's only the second Primarch book I've read. The first one that I read was the Alfarius book, which was excellent by Mike Brooks. So I would highly recommend that. It's actually probably not just one of my favorite books. Like obviously it's only the first Primarch book I read, but it gives you so much insight. If you're interested in the Horus Heresy, it gives you so much background insight on the Horus Heresy, and there's a lot of like really big truth bombs and like spoilers for like the larger lore that like are not known anywhere else. So I won't say it, but it's obviously Alfarius, so it's Alpha Legion, so it's a thousand lies, and you don't even know at the end of the book if anything you read was true. Like that's the cool part.
Mhm.
It's one of those things where you read it and you're like, was it all a lie, right? And so it's a real mindfuck book. So I definitely recommend you guys read it. Um, David, you mentioned to me you have some upcoming events. So what's on your radar
Oh,
for Warhammer?
I was gonna say I've been reading the Sabbath War anthology right now, which
Mm,
is like
Dan Abnett,
short
right?
stories. Well, there are two Gaunt's Ghost short stories in it, but it's also like other writers taking a stab at different regiments and things going on during the Sabbath War Crusade. Because it's I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with this, but the Gaunt's Ghost novel series takes place in this period of time where there's a giant imperial crusade going on to retake an entire system that was pretty much taken over by like chaos. And so there's like saints and all these other things that are going on. It gets pretty wild. But there are a lot of other engagements that the Gaunt's Ghosts weren't part of and other regiments that took part in it. And it's really cool because you see these short stories that kind of look at different things that aren't usually like Gaunt's Ghosty. Like there's like one about one of the chaos like warlords dies and in one of like the Gaunt's Ghost novels, but it shows like what happens to his like soldiers and his generals after that happens and how like they have to regroup, like the chaos forces are trying to regroup during the crusade to like try and like have another surge in this like push against the imperial advance. So it's kind of fascinating because it's there's some really interesting short stories that you wouldn't really necessarily get for the normal parts. Oh, I finished that Blackstone Fortress novel series.
Oh yeah, that's the one that comes with the board game, right?
Yeah, so there's like Blackstone Fortress, there's like an anthology book, and then there's a bunch of audio books that are like randomly kind of like about it. And then there's
Hmm.
this last book called Ascension, which is like kind of like wrapping up like that tale. Um so it wasn't bad. I think it could have been done a little better. It didn't really wrap up the ending as cleanly as I thought it would be, but whatever. It's kind of cool. I would
Yeah,
say it's when
it's
you
probably one of my regrets that I haven't ever read any of the Gaunt's Ghost books. I know like they're widely regarded as some of the better 40k content, and I don't know. There's just something about the story of a bunch of guardsmen that just doesn't interest me. Now, Dan Abnett is a super strong writer, and
yeah,
so on the strength of his writing, I will eventually check them out. Probably audiobooks, to be honest, guys, because
yeah.
I don't read physical books anymore. I'm too old and have too little time. But definitely once I get through the queue of like 7 audiobooks that I have right now on Audible, 40K ones that like and 30K that I haven't read, I will definitely get to the Gaunt's Ghost series just because I have heard they're good. And I don't know, it's hard for me to get excited about it, but I'm sure once I read the first book, I'll be like, oh, these are really good, and continue them.
Well, they're really strange. So the first 2 books aren't necessarily like, so like after you get past the first 2 books, they become like each book is its own like a war zone engagement.
Mm.
So you go from like the first 2 are almost like it looked like they just took stories from Inferno and they were like, let's just slap these together and just put it as a book. And then the second book was like kind of the same thing, but they kind of like then slowly started to like string them more together to make them more cohesive. And then like the third book, and then it just takes off from there. I would definitely say the third book is, oh my god, the third book is so good. It's called Necropolis. It's like a city fight / siege book, and it's really good.
Mm.
And then there's also one called Traitor General. It's like the 6th book, I believe, in the series. It's where like they pretty much take like a kill team of like the most elite ghosts, and they drop them onto a chaos held planet, and they help try and like contact like a imperial resistance, and they try and like overthrow the planet. And that's pretty wild because there's chaos space marines on that planet, so you get to see like how powerful space marines are in an Imperial Guard book.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, to be fair, after reading Storm of Iron, any siege in any book so far has been kind of lame.
Yeah, this one's pretty cool.
Even the Siege of Terra, I'm like, yeah, but Storm of Iron is so good.
Yeah. Oh, so events. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I am going to a GT or a larger event in November. I'm going to be going to Du Bois GT out in New York, in Rochester. It's going to be like over 100 players. I'm super excited. It's an event I go to every single year of my life. I haven't missed one yet unless COVID stops them. So I'm super excited. At the very last minute, I asked to be on a waiting list, and just so happened when I sent the email, they were like, someone dropped from the 40K event, go on BCP and register. So I did. And so at the last minute, I picked up a spot. I'm really excited about it because I haven't played in like a big 40K event in a very long time. So I'm like really excited to get back into the swing of things again because I miss it to death.
That's awesome, dude. I'm excited for you. Having just come back from Las Vegas team tournament, which was literally my first event since LVO 2020. Yeah. So it's been almost 22 months, basically, almost 2 years since I've been to an event. It was awesome, and we're gonna get into it a little bit. I have Kipper's Melee coming up in 2 weeks in Nanaimo, British Columbia. So I don't know how many people are gonna end up going, to be honest. Like we had Attack X, which was our big event that was canceled. It was supposed to be like first week of September. That was at 128 players, but Kippers, which is on the island, Vancouver Island, it's at around 30 to 40 players right now. But I've talked to at least 6 or 7 people that are signed up that are like, we don't know if we're going to go now because of COVID. So there's a lot of people that are potentially going to be dropping from that event. So I'm actually not even sure what's going to happen there. I'm not sure if people are going to, go or drop or what, but I'd imagine it's probably going to end up being around 30 to 35 people, to be honest, 2-day GT. Yeah. And then this weekend, this Saturday, I have an RTT, which is essentially, so we were supposed to have our finals for the BC 40K League. British Columbia is a very big province, which means the finalists, so there's like 8 or 9 divisions. The finalists, we were like, hey, this is when the final is. Everyone come to Vancouver, which for some people, it's like an 8-hour drive. Literally, like there's like 3 finalists that were actually going to make it. And everyone else was like, fuck it, I'm not coming all the way there. So we decided to basically cancel the quote unquote finals and just run an RTT instead. So we're doing like a 15-person RTT instead. So I'll be doing that. That'll be like my practice for Kippers. So I'll be nice. Probably run my list there. But yeah, and then I don't have any other events upcoming because, well, I have LVO. That's probably my next big event. And I guess I will use that as a good segue into a very big announcement I have, which is kind of scary as fuck, but super exciting. So something happened last week or over the weekend, which I have been resisting for many a year, for a long time, and I finally decided I need to unchain myself from the tethers and the grip of the chaos gods. So there's a few people that I do commission painting for. So I have quite a few clients across the board. And one of my clients I've been doing work for privately for about 2-3 years. And he made an offer. He's been trying to buy my Chaos Army since I won Adepticon in 2019. So he literally tried to buy it from me as soon as I won the championship with cash on the spot. And I said, no chance, for like around $3,000 US, which for those of you that don't know, that's actually a decent amount of money. For me, it wasn't worth it. I mean, that army that was a 2,000 point army, award-winning army. I wanted to play it for the rest of the season. And I said no. And, you know, I just won the event with this army. I wasn't going to sell it to someone right away. Right. And so and over the years, I've had similar offers from this client where he's been like, hey, like, sell me your army. And I'm like, no. Well, this week I was in Vegas, obviously, because Vegas of all places. We were having this conversation again, and he asked me for what number I would need for me to sell him my entire Chaos collection, like what that number would be. And I gave him a number that I thought was like not something that anyone would pay, and he agreed.
Yeah.
So we shook on it. So officially, I have sold my entire Chaos collection. Gone. And so I'm currently arranging flights to deliver it in hand mid-October after Kippers. I'm going to be flying with about 6 figure cases. There's about 25,000 points of Chaos. I'm going to be flying it to the States, which is where the client lives, and delivering it by hand. About 25,000 points of Chaos that I've painted over the last 25,000 to 30,000 points, depending on how you gear it. Plus the new stuff that I've painted 1,000 Suns. So as of now, he's someone that I know closely, and so he's like, whenever you need the army, you can borrow it, play with the events with it, whatever. But as of the end of October, I will not have any Chaos. I will no longer be Jim the Chaos player. The only army I will own is my Soul Drinkers, which I guess are technically Chaos, so maybe I'm still a Chaos player. And some of you are wondering, holy shit, that must have been a lot of money. And it was like, I really thought about it hard, and I was like, what I could do with that. And I was like, I could probably put a down payment on a house with it. Like that was as large as the number was. Maybe not fully, but it was like enough that I could probably put a down payment to a house in Vancouver, which is, you know, not a super expensive house. And me being someone that wants to buy a house at some point, I was like, you know what? I can always paint a new army. I'm a fairly fast painter. Plus, there's a bunch of new Chaos coming out, and my army is starting to see its age. Like some of the stuff I painted 2, 3, 4 years ago, I can rebuild. We can rebuild. So we shook on it. We spoke today. I gave him the full list of inventory this morning. He confirmed that, like, yeah, let's move ahead. And I trust him. He's going to pay for my flight because he doesn't trust to ship it. So he's like, I don't feel comfortable it being shipped, which I wouldn't. And so I'm going to be delivering it by hand to him at the end of October in America. And yeah, it's fucking scary. Like I was literally today, I was like looking at it and I was like really sad. And I was like, part of me was like, when I emailed him the full inventory, I was like, here's the full inventory. He was like, take a look. If you have any second thoughts, let me know. If you don't want to go through it, let me know. Like I gave him an out because just like he shook on it and we shook on it, but I also wanted to make sure he didn't, like, he was in Vegas being, you know, they pump oxygen in those hotels. Everyone gets crazy. You know, it's a long weekend. People aren't really thinking straight. The neon lights, the smell of cigarette smoke and the alcohol. You know, we had a lot of Korean barbecue the night before. I don't know, maybe his brain was a little bit fried. So yeah, but he, you know, he's well off. So this is not like it's not a small amount of money, but it's not like, for him, it was probably like within his like realm of doable. He was like, oh, I'll just give you cash. I'm like, dude, I can't cross the border with that much money. Like it's not anything over $10,000 you need to declare. And I'm not going to do it. So anyways, so that's a huge announcement. And it goes to your question you asked me in the pre-show, which was,
so Jim, Are we gonna be working on any new armies lately? I
Right.
feel
So
like
you
and
asked
I
me.
both
You asked
work
me in the
on the same
pre-show.
things all the time.
You asked me in the pre-show what I'm going to be working on for the rest of the year. Well, it's not going to be more chaos because as of the end of October, I will no longer be a chaos player. I
Mhm.
most likely will pivot to my